Tonight, Professor Dan Harrison is here to talk about jam bands. Why do people like them? What are the best bands and what are the best shows? And hey, here's your host, Dennis Balls. What is up, ballers? We got a lively chat tonight. All right, calm down, audience. We have, I'm looking at the box, but there's no one in there yet, but we have Dan Harrison in the house, and he's also our guest, so he's in the chat too.
I'm here.
We have Reiki Skater. What's up, Skater? We have SOHGD. SOHGD, what's up? I have a surprise for you later in the program.
Ooh.
Yo-Ya420 is here, the star of the animation at the very end of the show. Corey Simons is here. What's up, Corey?
Corey.
Georgia Constitution Media is in the house. Dan, stop. You're not on stage yet. Maybe it's Nino's here. And here is Professor Dan.
Hello, Dennis.
Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
So good to see you again. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and I'm not sure why the chat isn't showing up yet, but it's annoying to me because I want to see my chatters in the box.
Chatters.
I mean, I can't see you guys. Corey Simon says hello, everyone. Hi, everybody. Hi, Yo-Ya.
Yo-Ya.
Evening, everybody. Jam band enthusiasts. Robert Randolph, I have not heard of. Paper Bag Man.
Who hasn't heard it? You haven't heard of
No,
Robert
I
Randolph?
haven't heard of Robert Randolph. Tell me about.
Oh, he's amazing. He plays this lap steel guitar. He's phenomenal.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think he's from New York or something.
All right, so we're going to talk about jam bands, and you have like
Jam bands.
You have like the top 5 of your personal favorites that you're going to reveal, and we'll talk about why you love them. And
I love them.
And also, but before, and you're also going to tell us what a great show by each band is, and we have links in the description. Spoiler alert. But
yes.
Dan, Professor
yes,
Dan, why do you think people, like generally speaking, like jam bands?
Well, that is the $64,000 question, isn't it, Dennis? And I think the answer is that we live in a world which has no meaning, and people turn to music as a source of meaning in their life. It's a bit like religion in many respects. And for people who aren't necessarily religious, I think that jam bands are a good alternative because it sort of gives them meaning in their life, and you know, it gives them something to look forward to. It gives them something to distinguish themselves from their you know, fellow citizens in society, and you know, it becomes this whole culture really.
There's a kind of tribalism about fandom, right? Like people are like, I am part of the group of people who are Dead fans, and then there's a language that go along with it and stuff like that.
Precisely, and their whole life ends up, you know, revolving around these shows, and then, you know,
well, I mean, I'm kind of that way.
yeah, and the quality of the shows, and it's like, you know, were you there at you know Madison Square Gardens in like, you know, 1973 to see the Dead, or you know, were you there in Telluride, you know, to see Widespread Panic in, you know, 2003 and whatever. And so it allows people to tell stories about themselves and about the music, and to link up, you know, with you know, fellow, you know, music enthusiasts and so on. And plus, you know, I think the whole experience of the jam band shows is very formative as well.
Yeah.
Because it really provides people an opportunity to, you know, let loose and feel free, and just become, you know, totally immersed in the music and so on.
Reiki Skater, tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Reiki Skater said something interesting in the comments earlier. Reiki Skater said that you can dance alone and it's heavenly. Jam bands are fun. I've been to many concerts of many styles, but I'm a hippie. And I mean, it's true. There's a community around it. There's a mythos. There's a world of the characters and the songs. And I think I could probably do a whole episode about Bob Dylan's lyrics impacting the sort of stuff. But like, you know what I'm. All right, so
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I totally see what you're getting, and and I think Dylan probably started. I mean, not that he was. I mean, he had some very long songs, obviously, but and then you had the Dead, who and Jerry in particular, who was one of the biggest musicians who covered Dylan as well.
yeah.
But no, it's the whole Jack Kerouac on the road thing going on.
Right. The lyrics are a jam too.
Right. Yeah.
So let me. I'm just gonna say Ballers before we're gonna go into the bands, Dan, Professor
Let's do
Dan.
it.
But first I'm gonna say Ballers. Give me an audio check. Tell me if we have good levels. And
Come on, Ballers.
And Ballers. I just want to check the chat real quick, because SOH was saying he's in a band with Nick Cage. Where you read dad jokes database. What? Yeah, there's a running joke on the show that Nick Cage like he like national treasured in to Dennis Ball Studios and stole the dad joke database. Like I let the Ballers know that I have a dad joke database of like 1,000 dad jokes.
Yes.
And they were like shocked, and they were like yeah, it just became a running gag. All right, so let's see here. SOH, yes. Maybe it's saying he went to a Trey Anastasio show a couple years ago.
I like Trey. Trey's awesome. I saw him with Fish, and I think he's absolutely amazing. Fish is actually I'm not sure if I can reveal.
Well,
yet,
don't talk about the bands yet.
Okay.
Nito was saying. Let me read the comments. Nito was saying it was crazy watching Houston PD pulling people out of the show for smoking weed.
Ah, when was that?
It was a couple years ago.
Oh, just a couple of years ago.
Benjamin the M&M's General, what's up, man? The audio's great. Thank you. What's up, Captain Love Handles too? Thank you, Yo-Ya, for that. I appreciate that. All right, let's talk about the bands.
Let's talk about the bands.
All right, first up, we have Leftover Salmon. Oh, wait a minute. That was the wrong.
Sorry.
That's the wrong slide. Okay, that was the wrong picture. So
Leftover Salmon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a band that I heard about when I lived in Colorado in the early 2000s, and it's an interesting band. It's a jam band, based in I think Boulder is actually where they originated, but some of the members I believe were from the East Coast or maybe even like West Virginia and stuff, and so they kind of combine the typical kind of jam band sort of style with a lot of like bluegrass, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's the main guy in this picture?
I wish I could just be honest.
Is it the great?
I don't know all the names of them, but I think it's the guy who is all who has the beard.
Yeah, the patriarch.
I mean, they all have beards. Yeah. No, the fellow who has the gray hair, I think he's one of the founders, from what I understand. But no, some of the bands I know the names more than others, but but
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Ask the Fish is an amazing live album, and as I said, in the early 2000s, if you were living in Crested Butte, Boulder, Denver, anywhere in kind of the Intermountain West, definitely you would have heard about Leftover Salmon, and a really cool jam band,
and the live show is actually like it's like an official release they release. So I think your link is to like Discogs or something, so you can buy it.
Exactly. I mean, you can actually get the entire CD.
It's called Talk to the Fish. You can probably listen to it on streaming too, right?
I think it's called Ask the Fish.
Ask the Fish. So check out Ask the Fish by Leftover Salmon. Leftover
Salmon.
All right, our next one is Mo. Oh, sorry, wrong
Not
picture.
That Mo, different Mo.
There we go. And it's funny. I mean, and I'm when I was kind of researching these bands, I kind of realized that they're all like 30 years old and stuff, which I or older.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
time
the
passes
bands
so-
are older. Not the members are 30. The band is 30.
and so Mo and Leftover as well. I mean, they've been around for like 30 years or so. And I actually saw them in Asheville, North Carolina, I think around 2007. But they're from upstate New York, Buffalo, I believe, and they have a really unique sound for a jam band. And it's amazingly melodic. And the cool thing about jam bands is that you don't need to know any of the music, and when you show up at the concert to have a
Right.
good time.
Yeah.
Because the music and just the lyrics, I mean, they're somewhat simple, but I mean, it's just the whole atmosphere that just draws you in.
That's awesome. All right. So our next one is Fish.
Fish.
Oh, wait. Sorry. That was it.
And it's funny that leftover salmon and fish. I mean, I guess that's probably intentional there. But we went to New College. I think we need to put in a plug for New College, don't we, Dennis?
Yes.
Because what's happening there.
Yeah, it's being taken over by freaking.
It's being taken over by DeSantis. But when I was at New College, my last years at New College, '93. Fish was a band that a lot of people listened to, and I think across the country at the time they sort of represented just sort of a different way of sort of being in the world. They had some very creative lyrics and awesome melodies and lots of sort of jazz sounding songs.
And they also have they use like alternate instruments and stuff sometimes, right? Like strange invented drums and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, just very creative. I mean, they all went to music school, and they're just phenomenal musicians. And their live album, a live one, which dropped in I think was it '95, was just a phenomenal album.
Yeah.
And the tour, which sort of coincided with that, was really great. And I saw Fish in Tallahassee at the Civic Center in 1996, and that was a really, really good show too. Fish is definitely up there. I know that some jam band enthusiasts think that Fish is a bit too light. They're a little bit too milk toasty or whatever. But,
really?
Well, some people, I don't know. I mean, some people obviously are a little bit snooty when it comes to jam bands, but I think Fish definitely has their place, in sort of the pantheon of jam band, of jam bands.
They almost are like the direct inheritors of the Grateful Dead's legacy. Like it seems like that was the first big. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, aside from like the Allman Brothers or something, but am I wrong?
No, I think they were trying to be. I'm not sure if they ended up being successful in that role. I mean, obviously that's a pretty heavy burden to carry.
Well, and then the Dead had like a million spin-off bands too, so that kind of like made it a moot point.
Yeah.
But in any case, Fish. What's the show people should watch for that one? It's in the link. It's let's see here. It was like Leon County Civic Center '96.
This was the show that I went to. This was Leon County Civic Center in 1996.
Cool.
It was a great show. I was at Florida State University at the time in graduate school, and it was just awesome to see them all performing. They basically just did kind of the live album, which was released at the time, but
which is probably exactly what people wanted to hear.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, our next one is Widespread Panic. Oh wait, that's the wrong picture. Hold on. Wait, let's look at that one. Let's look at that one more time.
Godzilla.
Look at that.
That's Widespread Panic.
Yeah.
Yes, and Widespread is a band which is very close to my heart, and I've actually I've actually done an interview with Dave Schools for my book Live at Jackson Station, which was a kind of a social history of this blues bar in Hodges, South Carolina.
Yeah, you came on and talked. Yeah, you came on and talked about that a while ago. Yeah, I'll put a link in the comments.
Yeah, Widespread, comes out of Athens, Georgia, and they were influenced a lot by the Allman Brothers, who is another awesome, jam band, which I probably should have included, but I'm just it's embarrassing to say I'm just not as familiar with them.
I actually
as I should be. And you should be too, Dennis.
I am actually. I was going to talk about the Allman Brothers briefly when you were done.
Oh, that's yours.
I'm a huge
that's
fan.
Your contribution.
I'm a huge fan.
But anyway, Widespread, has just been going strong now since about 1983, 1984, and they started off as basically a cover band. They played a lot of Dead. And they have just they've just blown up and I think they have I believe that they have the record at the number of sold out shows at Red Rocks or something like that, but they still have a huge following, and they're kind of an interesting as far as the jam bands go, I would view them as almost being like a synthesis between like Metallica and Phish in a way, because they kind of have a dark side to them. A lot of the jam bands, it's all kind of this hippy dippy kind of lovey dovey, sort of stuff.
Right.
But Widespread, in terms of their jams, they can kind of take you to sort of a dark place, but then they'll bring you back out of it. And then they also emphasize the whole culture and
right.
the people, the community, and that sort of a thing too.
That's cool. And the show that you had for Widespread was Asheville, North Carolina, Halloween 2007.
Yes, and this was an amazing one because they actually played Enter Sandman by Metallica. The only time that song has ever been played by Widespread Panic. It was a Halloween show.
That's awesome.
And it was totally awesome to see them do that cover. And Metallica, I mean, they're not really a jam band per se, but it was really cool to see.
But they freaking rock.
They totally rock. And it was just so awesome to hear Widespread do that cover. And if you can check, if you can find, that show, definitely check it out.
But don't we have a link to it in the description? Is that a link to it? Can you listen to it at that link?
I think you might be able to, yeah.
And you were at that show.
I was at that show, yes.
All right, we got one more, and our final band, you might be able to guess, it is the Grateful Dead. Oh, wait, that's the wrong picture.
Is it Grateful Dead? I'm not sure.
It's Grateful Dead. It's Grateful Dead, and
you need to take off the article there.
I know, and you know what? It's actually something that my viewers have taken me to task for, but I felt better because all these people ripped me a new one for saying the Talking Heads, and then the woman who produced the first 3 Talking Heads records was calling them the Talking Heads. When I interviewed her, and I was like, okay, I feel better now. It really doesn't matter. But the freaking Dead. Talk about the Grateful Dead.
The Dead, yes. The Dead are amazing. And unfortunately, I never got to see them, although I probably could have, because, I was alive in the late 80s when they sort of, in the early 90s when they had sort of their final run there. But I got turned on to the Grateful Dead at New College, my first year at New College. My roommate, Lars, actually, he was a big, not a huge Deadhead, but he had I think Skeletons in the Closet, which is an amazing album. And once you're hooked by the Dead, you are, there's really, no going back.
Yeah.
And so I've been a big fan of the Grateful Dead, for many, many years since. And I really love the late 1970s
Yes.
time period, 78, 79.
Is that like Terrapin Station era?
Yeah, I think it's Terrapin Station era, and it's
Mars
really when
Hotel, Blues for Allah,
uh,
that kind of stuff.
exactly when Jerry was sort of at his peak,
Man,
before
I
he
love that.
went into his diabetic coma and everything, and so they're just I mean, they are obviously the quintessential jam band because they had the whole culture to it as well, and I think that really is what distinguishes kind of a genuine jam band from sort of a wannabe jam band, is that you actually have people who drop everything to follow the Dead, and Jerry was very clear about that, and he was like, well, here we are living in this kind of somewhat crappy society, and so there's a lot of people who don't have a lot of options, and so yeah, why not come and follow the Dead on tour? I mean,
Yeah.
and for him, it was a pretty, I mean, he was obviously the leader of the band, or one of the leaders of the band, but he was like, yeah, go for it, come and follow us around the country, which is a cool thing to do, obviously, when you're in your
When
late
you're
teens,
young
early
and you can
20s.
do it.
Yeah,
So
when you
yeah, go ahead. I was
no,
gonna say, when I was in college, before I went to New College, which was a great place, I was at another crappy state university, which I was gonna drop out of, and
oh
at the end of I knew I was leaving it, and at the
yeah,
at the end or midway through the second semester, my friend lost a relative who left him some money, and he was
uh,
like he was like in New England, and he was like, dude, let's go to see the Dead and so we drove to Atlanta, which I'd never been to
oh
before. This was late 90s. There were no cell phones, so we had a map and we found a campground north of
wow,
the city, and we camped, and there were like these three like guys who were like southern dudes who were like brothers, and they were camping there next to us, and we hung out with them and drank wine around a
cool.
campfire. And it was
And you saw the Dead?
and we saw the Dead. I saw Jerry play with the Dead, and was that, and I was
Nice.
in Atlanta. It was the first, and now I live here, but it was just a very special experience for me to go, because, and I mean, I've been a fan of the, I mean, I'd even say Deadhead. I mean, you've probably seen my record collection. There's a lot of Dead
Sure.
records, and so
Yeah.
I love the band. So I love that you
Yes.
chose them. Allman Brothers. Yeah, Nito doesn't like them. Let me tell you, Nito, like, listen to, there's an album, like, Europe 1972, it's called. All right? And it's easy to find it. And it's an easy way to get a great listen to it. Or listen to the record, even more so. Don't listen to the jams. Get the studio album, American Beauty, or get the
American
studio
Beauty.
album,
Yes,
Working Man's Dead, especially Working Man's
definitely.
Dead. Listen to it in the evening. It's super mellow, and it's not
Hmm.
jams. It's really well written songs, and
Yes.
performed and recorded, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreakingly beautiful. I don't know. So in any case, great. So
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
also we need to remember that Jerry did a lot of stuff on his own, and there's the great album, Garcia, which he
Right.
released, solo album as well, and did a lot of stuff with Mel Saunders and everything. Um, but
Yeah, and so
yeah,
I'm gonna give mine, which is the Allman Brothers. I didn't make a
yes.
slide
Well,
for it, but the Allman
I only had
Brothers
five. Yes.
are amazing, and obviously Fillmore East is incredible, and Ida Peach has the amazing Mountain Jam on it. So there's some performances from that amazing Fillmore East. They were the last band to play at Fillmore East, and they were hand chosen by Bill Graham to play there. And they
Wow, I didn't know
and
that.
they they played some songs that ended up on Ida Peach, after Dwayne died. Um, but the a record came out at Record Store Day. It's the Allman Brothers at Arabia Mosque in Pittsburgh, and
Wow.
it's incredible. There's a 20-minute long Elizabeth Reed on it. I mean, it's not good because it's 20 minutes long. It's an amazing record and show because, like, they go places that I haven't heard them go before. Like there's a point where they're doing Elizabeth Reed and Dickie Betts or Dwayne. It's hard to tell at that point in the performance who it is. But they're
Yeah.
one of them is doing a drone with their guitar, and the other one starts playing these like Arabic scales over it as like a
Cool.
testament to the venue, and then it becomes Allman Brothers again, and it's subtle, but it's like I don't know. It's very cool. Okay,
Nice.
all right. Before we go, I'm going to read a couple comments before we go to Chuckleballs.
Okay. Let's read comments.
Let's see here. Nito says the Dead are more of a brand than actual music to me.
Oh,
I know,
please.
I know. And I said I did respond to that and said, listen to don't get into the whole thing. Oh, what show? Blah blah blah. Listen to a couple of those studio albums, Working Man's Dead particularly.
But I would say listen to the live. The live
right.
tracks. To be honest with you, I mean, there's awesome things on iTunes, and also if you listen to there's a great radio station out of Martha's Vineyard, and there's a fellow by the name of Jer Bear who had a show called Shakedown Stream, and he's just he's just an amazing Grateful Dead aficionado, and so I mean I think the studio albums are good, but for me the live tracks are the best.
All right, Corey Simon says Corey was coming home with her dad from a Rolling Stones concert. I think you're a she, Corey. I don't know if you're she or he. And their truck broke down from a Stones concert, and a bus of Deadheads stopped to help them. And Corey's dad said, "We will get by." So I got that joke.
Oh, that's the Touch of Grey song. Yeah, that was from what I understand, that was like the only song that actually made them any money was Touch of Grey.
Great music video. Their skeletons playing a concert. Okay, let's go to Chuckleballs.
Chuckleballs.
Ballers, you can park behind the building. I know it can be difficult to find parking in Ball City.
We will see you inside.
Yeah, we'll see you inside. Welcome to Chuckleballs. Super Ball, let the guests in. Super Ball is the bouncer, Professor Dan. That's Super Ball. Get it?
Who's the bouncer?
He's the Super Ball. His Super Ball. See? See?
Oh, there we are.
Yeah. See. All right. So, ballers, I got beverages for everybody. Sit down. It's in your fridge or it's in your hand, one or the other. Sit down, and we're gonna tell a couple of jokes.
Dad jokes.
Yes, and sort of the idea is. I'm actually going to turn the music down slightly.
Yeah, it's too loud.
Kind of the idea is, you don't have to try and not laugh. Just tell me if it's any good or not. Is it good or is it bad? That's the idea. Right. SOH parked on the roof. What? I didn't know we had top parking deck. Cool. That's awesome. Oh, thanks. Georgia Constitutional Media is buying around. Thank you, Georgia Constitution Media. All right, so. As a thank
Where's
you.
my drink?
As a thank you for that, hold on. I'm gonna move. This is in your face, Dan. Let me move it out of the way here. Hold on a second.
Get the chat out of my face.
I know. I have a. Hold on. I'm gonna move it. Sorry. 1 second here. There it is. Okay. Georgia Constitution Media. Do you know what country musician is most popular with urban audiences?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Yeah. Don't try and guess it. Okay, Dan. What country music is most popular with urban audiences? I'll tell you who. It's Keith Urban. Because they're urban audiences. They're literally urban audiences. Okay.
Who is married to?
Who is married to? Who?
Nicole Kidman, right?
No, I didn't know that. Do they have
you didn't know that?
Do they have a kid, man?
Kid man.
Okay. Professor Dan, do you know why actors say break a leg? Because they want to be in a cast. Because they want to be in a cast. Okay, this one goes out to SOHGD in an attempt to ward off another Nick Cage joke. SOHGD, what do you call an alligator in a vest? An investigator. I'm giving it. Okay, we're getting laughs from Paper Bagman, Dan. Professor Dan laughed at the first 3 jokes.
Yeah.
We got dings from Georgia Constitution Media, Paper Bagman, SOH thought it was funny. Excellent. All right, we have a great Yo-Ya 420, this one goes out to you. Yo-Ya 420, where are average things manufactured? At the Satisfactory. Because they're not great. They're just satisfactory.
They're just kind of meh. Yeah.
So they make them at the Satisfactory. And also, speaking of average, Corey Simons, I had some average jambalaya for dinner tonight. I mean, it really was just mediocre.
Oh, that's sad.
It was mediocre.
Mediocre.
It was mediocre. Thank you. Okay, Benjamin the Gentleman.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. We got one more. I saved one.
Well done. Well done.
I have one more joke. I saved it for Maybe It's Neato. Maybe It's Neato. Speaking of food, you know, Dr. Evil took his henchmen out for Mexican food. They had henchiladas. That's pretty bad. It's bad, but it's not bad. Yeah, it's kind of fun. All right, we're getting all laughs. No, I didn't get one tank so far. Yo-Ya, SOH, Peak of the Funny. Thank you, SOH. Paper Bag Man gave me 2 good laughs. As Corey Simons gave me a laugh. Yo-Ya, 420. Maybe It's Neato laughed with 4. As Corey Simons laughed, I can't do all the bing, bing, bing. Because if I did that, the Benjamin the M&M's General gave me 10 laughs. How am I supposed to do that? All right, hold on a second. All right, let's move on. But first,
let's move on.
But first, this message from our sponsor.
Very interesting.
Who? Rolling Stone? Or is it Gucci?
Hold on a second. Dan, don't talk. Let it go. All right, hold on. Let me start again. I want them to hear the funny jokes.
Very interesting.
Okay.
Honey, those kids are out front again. What? Kids?
What is Dennis doing behind the magazine?
Hey, you kids, get off my lawn. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you two. What are you, on grass? Bunch of animals. Jeez. Kids these days. And if
I don't
you
think we
kids
can hear
think
your
kids
audio,
these days,
Dennis.
watch
Oh,
these
really?
kids
There's no
go
audio?
No.
hilarious.
There's no audio for it?
No, there's no audio.
All right, hold on. We'll do this instead.
When you run around like a maniac doing exercise, you need a water that's a maniac too. That's why we invented Subscribe Pure Unfiltered
that
Tap
done, Woody?
Athlete Water. Specially formulated by a team of buff international sports scientists, Subscribe Pure Unfiltered Tap Athlete Water has the particles, minerals,
Like water
small
board.
fragments,
Huh.
and even water your body needs to kick athletic ass. It makes you run faster than new sneakers, makes you stronger than anyone who tries to punch you, and sexier than the guy currently dating the girl you love. Subscribe Pure Unfiltered Tap Athlete Water. Subscribe to refreshment.
Did you hear that one?
Well, you know, I couldn't hear it, but
I think the other people
I
couldn't
think
hear
everyone
it.
else can. I'm
That's
not sure
interesting.
why.
I wonder why that happened. All right, so this is the Sweeter Yeet meme reactions. It's memes and other fun things that we found online. And thank you. Hold on a second. Maybe it's Neato likes is a Burt Ball fan. Yes, Burt Ball. Burt Ball, you know, did you know Maybe It's Neato? He starred in Cannonball Run. He was the Cannonball. All right. So, Sweet or Yeet, basically, if these are funny and they spark joy, as Marie Kondo would say, you say sweet. If you would throw them away, you know, from your closet, from your mental closet, then that's a yeet, okay? So we'll start with this one. This is thematic for all who are celebrating tonight. Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. I give that
I'd say that's yeet.
Okay, I'm giving it a sweet. I like that one. Subscribe water comes in grape. Really? Cool. Buff science is super hard. Science, Neato. All right, here's another one. Tell me if you like this one. I love ruining the plot of Dorian Gray for people. Never gets old. Never gets old. Dorian Gray never gets old in the story. Boy, you're hard the audience tonight. Are you giving that a yeet?
You
can give it a yeet. Go ahead.
I'm sort of right on the borderline.
I'm giving it a sweet, and I'm pushing you over into the territory of sweet as well.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Here's one that maybe, hopefully you'll like this one. The first rule of Fight Club is to have fun and be yourself. The Hello Kitties make that for me.
It's Brad Pitt, isn't it?
It is. It's Fight Club. So I guess that's a no for you. Is that a yeet? I'm getting sweets. I got a sweet from Paper Bagman. I got a sweet from Nito.
Was that a quote from Fight Club?
No, it's a joke. It's a joke. Yo-Ya gave an for one of them, so I understand. Sweet from Nito. We got sweets from SOH and Carly. All right, here. Let's move on. I'm gonna give that a yeet from you.
Yes, a yeet.
How about this one?
What the hell is going on?
It's a guy sitting in front of a tree. See, it's one of these confusing perspectives.
But where's the arm? Where do the arms come from?
It's a guy. The guy is sitting in front of the tree. He just happens to be wearing a blue shirt, and the tree's painted.
I see. Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's like a confusing perspective one. Boy, you're a tough crowd. I'm giving it a sweet.
I'll go for sweet on that.
That's pretty good. You have to admit that's a pretty. It's a pretty seamless.
Yes. I like that.
When your salad keeps making jokes. There's actually a website called Laughing at Salad. And it's just all those pictures of
I'm not sure what I'm supposed to respond to.
Well, it's just because it's just funny because that's actually sort of a common, like if you ever see pictures of salad, you know, they often have a woman eating it and they're laughing for no real reason. Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is 7 pictures of stock photography, and they're all women laugh. And I mean, so many that there's actually a website called Laughing with Salad.
Salad makes women laugh.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I guess I think they're trying to make the salad seem more exciting and fun.
Right.
Because everybody really wants pizza.
Exactly.
You know, and burgers and things. All right, I give it a sweet. We're getting sweets all across the board. Yeah, it takes a minute, Yo-Ya. It's Paper Tree Man. That's right. Hey, Captain Love Handles is back with a sweet. Thank you. I almost said Weezer instead of sweet. That's funny. All right, May the 4th. This was from yesterday. Everyone on the internet today. I'm a Star Wars. I like Ralph Wiggum. Every time I like Ralph.
I love Ralph too.
Okay, we'll give him I'm giving him a sweet. Do you give Ralph Wiggum a sweet?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you.
Even if it's like
exactly. They ripped the patch off because he couldn't name 5 songs. Speaking of tribal music groups, that's pretty good, right?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. We're getting sweets across the board. I mean, sweets from Paper Bagman, Georgia Constitution Media, Corey, Nito, Paper Bagman again, SOH. One day late, but still pretty sweet, I know. Because you know what? The person who made that cartoon, meme, or whatever, nailed it.
Nailed it. It's
kind of funny because you often see that nailed it thing with just somebody nailing. You don't actually see them nailing nails into a wooden it. No, that took a little bit of...
But you do on the Dennis Ball Show.
You do, exactly. Thank you. All right, so I'm giving it a sweet. I'll let you decide whether you're going to give it a sweet or a yeet. No shit, Sherlock. The Adventures of Captain Obvious. The case of the clearly counterfeited cash. It looks fake if you ask me, really? You're an idiot, you know that? With your stupid cap. I like these. There's a bunch of them. The guy he makes silly versions of, like, old pulp paperbacks. Anyway, I thought that was funny. I'm not getting a lot of reaction from you on these.
Where did you get that one from?
The interwebs. Where else would I get it from? The tubes. All right, let's move on. It died after being nailed 47 times. All right, hold on a second. Brought some pot brownies in for my coworkers. My boss wasn't amused until he saw them. They're pot.
Those are some amazing pot brownies, really. If you think, I mean, my God, look at those things.
Don't they? They look good, right?
I mean, that's like a wedding cake, you know. I mean, that's
level. Yeah.
The volume of those brownies is just incredible.
Yeah, they look good. I mean, they're probably little teeny pots. I love that though. I thought that was
funny. Are they small? Like that? They can't tell the scale.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. But funny pun. You know, I love seeing puns played out in real life, and I have to give a sweet to anybody who does that. Paper Bag Man saw Princess Leia at Walmart yesterday. That's amazing.
No way.
Yeah.
Natalie Portman?
No, Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, who got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame yesterday. Yeah, I want a brownie now, too. In fact, Baby Ball made Browookies, which are brownie cookie hybrid. And I'm going to go down and have one after the show. All right, we have just a few more. Hey, twin brother calls twin brother from prison. Hey, bro, remember when we were younger and used to finish each other's sentences? Get it? A jail sentence? His jail sentence? I thought that was kind of funny.
I'd say that's more of a yeet than sweet.
Okay. Oh, but Captain Love Handle says there was a Buckhead restaurant that had flower pot burgers. Wow. What were those like? Sounds like meatloaf or something. Yeah, it was.
Sounds like meatloaf.
It was the Force Ghost. Okay, I have one more. This one goes out to SOH. Imagine you work in a supermarket and you meet John Travolta in person.
That's not John Travolta.
Exactly.
There he is again.
SOH. Yeah.
He comes up again.
Exactly. That's well. He's. I grabbed this because it's gonna happen every single episode. It's SOH's trademark.
No,
so I had to just bring that into the play because I thought it was really funny. But I saw it this afternoon. Ballers, thank you very much, and Dan, thanks for being here as well.
Oh, I'm happy to be here, Dennis. It's great to see you again.
Yeah,
and I can't wait for the Love and Rockets show.
Yes, we're going to see Del Love and Rockets, so we're hopefully we'll trying to see David J. We'll see if that. I'm not sure.
Everyone should meet us there.
I cannot. Yeah, you should meet us there. We're going to see Love and Rockets in Atlanta. So if you're going to see that show, hit me up and we'll meet up. I'm serious.
Yeah. Serious.
It was great. Everyone, thanks for coming tonight. Have a fantastic weekend. And
listen to more jam band music.
Listen to more jam bands. The links to the shows are in the description, ballers. And with that, adieu.
We are over and out.
And a 1,
Peace.
and a 2.
1, 2, 3. Dennis Ball, Dennis Ball. The world outside is making me so sad. But when I watch your show, it seems the world is just a joke. And things don't seem so bad. Your multi-personality is worth more than your pedigree. You're rolling with the punch.
What the hell are these people?
With all your skill, your show, and you like to when you walk in.
That's just a laugh.
Possum Kingdom Ramblers.
Nice.
Yeah, they're great.
Are they from Dunwoody?
They're from the area. Yeah.
Nice. I guess I couldn't hear some of the audio, but that's fine.